The air crackled with anticipation. 10 eager hunters stood poised, their eyes gleaming with determination. A grand prize of $10,000 awaited the one who could find the hidden seeker within the sprawling confines of Phantasmagoria, the world's most perplexing theme park. 6 hours. That was all the time they had. The clock ticked down, each second a drumbeat of suspense. Phantasmagoria, a realm of dreams and nightmares, offered the perfect backdrop for this high-stakes hide-and-seek. Its twisting pathways and hidden alcoves promised a challenge like no other. The seeker, a master of disguise and deception, had vanished into the labyrinthine heart of the park. The hunters, a mix of seasoned professionals and eager amateurs, braced themselves for the ultimate test of wit and endurance. The thrill of the chase hung heavy in the air, mingling with the scent of popcorn and cotton candy. The distant screams from the roller coasters added to the unsettling atmosphere. The hunters dispersed, their footsteps echoing through the deserted lanes, the silence broken only by their hurried breaths. The sun began its slow descent, casting long, eerie shadows across the park. Phantasmagoria was a maze within a maze, a labyrinth of illusions designed to confound and disorient. The park's themed areas, from the Wild West to the futuristic spaceport, blended seamlessly into one another, creating a bewildering tapestry of sights and sounds. Hidden passages and secret tunnels crisscrossed the park, adding another layer of complexity to the hunt. The centerpiece of the park was the Grand Carousel, a magnificent structure with intricately carved horses and a dazzling array of lights. It was here, in the heart of the swirling chaos, that the seeker had last been seen. The hunters circled the carousel, their eyes scanning every nook and cranny, but the seeker had vanished without a trace. The air grew heavy with the scent of popcorn and cotton candy. The distant screams from the roller coasters added to the unsettling atmosphere. Each rustle of leaves, every flicker of shadow, could be a clue. The hunters spread out, each following their instincts and hunches. Some focused on the more obvious hiding spots, checking behind giant stuffed animals and inside empty popcorn carts. Others ventured into the darker corners of the park, their flashlights cutting through the gloom, searching for any sign of the elusive seeker.
The Hall of Mirrors seems like the perfect place for someone to disappear.
Sarah, a seasoned detective, focused her attention on the Hall of Mirrors. The distorted reflections and endless corridors seemed like the perfect place for someone to disappear. She moved slowly, her hand on her taser, peering into each mirrored surface, half expecting the seeker to jump out at her. But the hall remained silent, the only sound her own breathing.
This old pirate ship, it's got to have some secrets.
Meanwhile, Mark, an amateur thrill seeker, decided to explore the abandoned pirate ship. He climbed the creaking wooden planks, the salty air filling his lungs. The ship swayed gently, its ghostly sails flapping in the wind. The seeker, a master of disguise, melded perfectly into the park's vibrant chaos. Dressed in a sleek black jumpsuit, they moved like a phantom, weaving through the crowds with stealth, always a heartbeat ahead of their pursuers. Time and again, the hunters came agonizingly close to capturing their elusive target. In the Wild West saloon, a hunter glimpsed a shadow darting behind a stack of barrels. He lunged forward, adrenaline surging, only to find a discarded cowboy hat and a pile of tumbleweeds. The seeker had vanished, leaving behind only a faint trace of vanilla perfume. Later, in the spaceport, a hunter caught a muffled cough echoing from inside a rocket ship. She crept inside, her flashlight slicing through the darkness, illuminating the metallic walls. But the rocket was empty. The seeker's narrow escapes only ignited the hunter's determination, pushing them to search with renewed vigor.
As the hours dwindled, the hunters began to suspect each other. Paranoia crept in, whispering doubts and suspicions. Could one of them be working with the seeker? Was this a double cross? The once united group began to fracture, each hunter looking at the others with distrust.
Sarah, convinced that Mark was hiding something, began to tail him. Her eyes narrowed, her hand hovering near her taser. Mark, sensing her suspicion, grew defensive, his movements becoming more erratic, more suspicious. The tension between them crackled in the air.
Meanwhile, other hunters began to question each other's motives, their voices hushed, their eyes darting nervously. The game was turning into a free-for-all, a battle of suspicion and mistrust. John, a quiet observer who had remained largely unnoticed throughout the game, began to piece together the clues. He had noticed a pattern in the seeker's near misses, a subtle trail of breadcrumbs leading to the park's central clock tower.
He climbed the winding staircase, his heart pounding, his senses on high alert. As he reached the top, he saw a figure silhouetted against the moonlight, the seeker. They were perched on the edge of the clock face, their black jumpsuit blending with the shadows. John moved slowly, cautiously, his hand reaching for his capture flag. John lunged forward, his capture flag outstretched. The Seeker, startled, lost their footing and stumbled back. For a moment, they hung precariously from the edge of the clock face, their fingers scrabbling for purchase. Then, with a final, desperate cry, they plunged into the darkness below. John rushed to the edge, his heart pounding in his chest. He peered down into the abyss, but the Seeker was gone, vanished. He had won.
The park lights flickered, then went out, plunging Phantasmagoria into darkness. The game was over. The hunt was done. John stood alone, the champion of the night, the victor of the epic $10,000 hide-and-seek challenge.